Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now I am going to react to my Premier League predictions from the start of last season. I've had a few absolute stinkers. Now remember, I didn't start YouTube before the start of last season, so I'm just going to go from what I did at the start of last season. I didn't predict these on YouTube, so yeah, just take these with a pinch of salt. In 20th position, I predicted AFC Bournemouth. Now they finished 15th. Respect Gary O'Neill. Deserves a round of applause. Now let's talk about Bournemouth. Solanke came up in clutch gear. They signed that Dango Altara, Senesi. They've signed some good players, and they deserve to be in the Premier League. And hopefully they can push on. But I worry for them next season. They might suffer second season syndrome. They could be another Sheffield United, you know. But yeah, I did predict them to finish bottom. But they finished in 15th. Right, okay. The next team, in 19th position, I predicted Southampton. Let's start off with Ralph Hasenhüttl. If they kept Ralph Hasenhüttl, then they could have stayed up. But they sacked him. They brought in Gary O'Neill. I mean, not Gary O'Neill. They brought in, who's that fella? Nathan Jones. They brought in Nathan Jones. Complete catastrophe. And I suppose he's the man who sent them down. And then they brought in Ruben Selles, who just was brought in to help Southampton play with a little bit of pride. But I can't see Ward-Prowse staying in the Championship. But I've seen Ward-Prowse being linked to clubs for 50 million. Southampton want 50 million for Ward-Prowse. I can't see him. No one will pay £50 million for a relegated player. No Southampton player is worth £50 million. So yeah. In other news, yeah, Onachu Sulemana against Liverpool was great. But he didn't start apart from that Liverpool game, I think. Yeah, not good. And in 18th position, I had Brentford. They finished 9th. Respect to Brentford, respect to Thomas Frank. He is a really good manager, and hopefully they can push on for Europe next season. They had an outside chance of getting Europe on the final day, but yeah, but well done for beating Man City. Can I just say? So yeah, Ivan Toney obviously got the ban. Yeah, Ben Mee, Aaron Hickey obviously consistent. Johan Visser, really good player. So yeah, I underestimated Brentford, so I am very, very sorry. In 17th position, I predicted Fulham. I said they would stay up. Now, they did, but they finished in 10th position. Mitrovic, if he doesn't get the ban, then he will be pushing for 20 plus goals. Willian, good player. Obviously, Leno, probably one of their best players of the season, helps them stay up. They weren't, if I'm going to be honest, they weren't anywhere near a relegation battle. Well done to Fulham. Harry Wilson had an absolute stinker of a season, but I'm expecting him to get better next season, unless they sell him. Yeah, but well done to Fulham. The next team, so in 16th, I predicted Leeds. They finished in 19th. I mean, first season back in the Premier League, good. Second season, poor. They just survived on the last day of the season. This season, had an absolute shocker. Finished in 19th. I mean, not good for Leeds. I worry for Leeds. Now, they do have... Rodrigo Moreno does have a relegation release clause of £3 million. I would pay it. I mean, 13 goals and 1 assist in, I think it was 28 or 29 matches. I'd snap your hand off for him. I'd snap my hand off for him. So, yeah. In 16th place, in 15th place, I said Nottingham Forest. They finished in 15th place. Well done to Steve Cooper. Forest could have just sacked him, but instead they stuck with him, and he kept them up. He managed to keep them up. He deserves a lot of credit for that. I mean, 30 players. I like that Forest chant. Na, way. Waka waka, 30 signings, who gives a fuck? The Reds are staying up. Absolute banger of a chant. But respect. Lingard, obviously, absolute stinker. Chris Wood, they brought him in on loan. Navas, he is probably the man who kept them up. Awoniyi came in clutch gear at the end of the season, but fair play. So yeah. In 14th place, I had Crystal Palace. They finished 11th. Now, Patrick Vieira was sacked, and they brought in Roy Hodgson. Now, when Patrick Vieira was in charge, they were like 3 points from the relegation zone. 3 points above the relegation zone with about, was it 10, 12 games to go? Forgot now, but they brought in Roy Hodgson, and he changed everything in that football club. So credit to Roy Hodgson. Eze Elise doing bits. Zaha looks like he's off to Saudi Arabia, Al Nassr, to join Cristiano Ronaldo and all the money. So yeah. Edouard flopped this season. Joachim Anderson, I like him. So yeah, solid season for Palace, mid-table. Hodgson saved them. Yeah. In 13th place, I predicted Brighton. Now, well done. So, at the start of the season, Graham Potter left for Chelsea. And then they brought in De Zerbi, who no one had heard of, but he got them Europa League, for God's sake. Well done, is all I can say. They finished 6th. Yeah. I mean, Pascal Gross, Evan Ferguson. The way that they can just find these players like Evan Ferguson, McAllister, who's gone to Liverpool. Obviously, we'll speak about him in a bit. Then players like Matoma and Ciso, they can just sign them, develop them, and the next minute they're worth £80 million. So yeah. So in 12th place, I predicted Villa again. They sacked Steven Gerrard in October when they were 17th in the league. They brought Unai Emery in. They finished 7th. They're going on a European tour. So congratulations. And the way them Aston Villa fans were celebrating, it meant like that they were getting Champions League. So yeah, Ollie Watkins, great. Then there's Coutinho, who didn't have a great season at all. And then there was players like Diego Carlos, Boubacar Kamara, who stepped up to the plate really. So I have a lot of time for Aston Villa. So yeah, they finished in 7th. Another one wrong. In 11th position, I predicted Everton, my team. Now, on the last day of the season, it took a Doucouré screamer to keep Everton in the Premier League. Another failure of a season, but Doucouré was fantastic. I mean, Demarai Gray obviously Demarai Gray scored goals. Calvert-Lewin, he came back but was injured again on the final day. It's a shame, really. Ellis Sims scored that goal against Chelsea. Michael Keane against Spurs. Poor season for Everton, really. We can't be in that position again. I'm sorry, but we really can't. In 10th. In 10th position, I predicted Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, they finished 13th. They were in a bit of a relegation scrap. I think they were bottom at Christmas. They were in real trouble at Christmas until they appointed Julian Lopetegui, who really changed that club around. Kept them up comfortably in the end, 13th. But the amount of goals they've conceded away, 6-0 away at Brighton, 5-0 away at Arsenal, really does worry me for next season. And it wouldn't surprise me if Wolves get relegated next season. Touch wood. So yeah. In 9th place, West Ham United, I predicted. They finished 14th, but congratulations for winning the Conference League. They've got Europa League football next season. They had a poor season, if you think about it, but they deserve Europe. They really do. And I have a lot of time for their fans. I like Moyes, I like Zuma. So yeah. Spot on. So yeah. Zuma, Moyes, then there's players like Ings who came in and did well. There's players like Scamacca. Scamacca, I've got a lot of time for Scamacca. He came in and he flopped, but I do like him. and I have heard of him. And it wouldn't surprise me if he scores 15, 20 goals next season. So yeah. And in 8th place, I have Leicester City. They finished in 18th place. Losing Schmeichel killed them. That's all I can say. And then they brought in Danny Ward, who had a few good moments, but he isn't a type of Kasper Schmeichel replacement. Iverson, against Everton, he was fantastic, Iverson. And he kept Leicester in that match. That's why they drew 2-2 to us. But yeah, Jamie Vardy, Patson Daka, few honourable mentions. Another honourable mention to James Maddison, Yuri Tillemans. But I can see all of them players, Harvey Barnes as well, leaving, joining clubs like Newcastle, Arsenal, Spurs, who are in the Premier League and are willing to prove themselves. So now in 7th place, you've got Newcastle, I predicted. They finished in 3rd. Champions League. Oh no, sorry, they finished in 4th, didn't they? But they still finished in Champions League. Congratulations to Eddie Howe. Now, Callum Wilson, Alexander Isaac came in, did well. Then you've got Dan Burn. Yeah. You've got Joe Linton. You've got Bruno Guimaraes. Then you've got players like Sven Botman. I really do like him. Nick Pope. Yeah. They do deserve to be in the Champions League, and hopefully better things to come for the Geordies. Now in 6th position, I predicted Arsenal. Now, a massive congratulations to Arsenal for finishing in 2nd position. They pushed Man City until the second to last game week, but they bottled it against Forest. I mean, people call bottling it. The people will say bottling it, but I do agree that they thrown the title away because, but bottling it means they were never in for the title, but they had about 9 points. They were 9 points ahead of Man City at one point, but they threw it away. But well done, Mikel Arteta. I am a really big fan of Arteta. Now in 5th place we have Manchester United. I predict 5th place for Manchester United. They finished 3rd. Ten Hag doing wonders. Bruno, Casemiro changed their midfield. And then you've got players like Rashford, huge turnaround from him. Sancho, and Anthony. I like Anthony as well. De Gea, obviously, in goal. He does make a few mistakes. That's all I'm going to say about De Gea. I'm going to criticise him for that. Distribution. But really good season for Man United. Respect. In 4th position, I predicted Chelsea. Now, I can hold my head in shame. I have to hold my head in shame for this. Chelsea finished in 12th position. Now, they sacked Tuchel in September. Now, they spent 200 million in the summer. They brought Sterling, Koulibaly. They sacked Tuchel a few months later after spending that money a few weeks later. Then they brought in Graham Potter. They gave him the January window, gave him another £250 million to spend on players like Enzo Fernandez. Then they sacked him in March. They brought in Frank Lampard as interim. He didn't win very many games either. It was nearly the 007 effect. Yeah. Koulibaly and Sterling all flopped. Enzo is not worth £100 million. Enzo is not worth £120 million. I think they overpaid for him. And Kepa, crap. Mendy, crap. They need a goalkeeper and a striker. They really do need a goalkeeper and a striker. Right. In third place, Tottenham Hotspur, I said. They finished in 8th. Yeah, they finished in 8th. Poor season for Spurs, fell off a cliff. Conte basically exposing what we already know. Players didn't look up for it. Yeah, sums all of that up, doesn't it? Doesn't look good for Spurs. And then they brought in Stellini, that Conte's mate, Conte's head coach, lost to Newcastle, wasn't it 6-1 or something, 6-2? And then they brought Ryan Mason in to steady the ship. Baby-faced Ryan Mason. Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, obviously, they're standout players. But they need a lot more. And I can't see them finishing Champions League next season either. Now, in second place, as everyone probably predicted, Liverpool. They finished in 5th place in the Europa League. 5th place, terrible season for them. Yeah. If I was a Liverpool fan, I wouldn't be very happy, but I'm not. I'm an Everton fan. But Liverpool, doesn't this go to show you something? Liverpool lost to Man United and Bournemouth away 1-0 and 2-1, but they beat them at home 7-0 and 9-0. Yeah. Salah, standout player. Nunez, missing goals for fun. What can I say about Nunez? Kanate, decent. Van Dijk, decent. But yeah, not very good season for Liverpool. Now, in third place, I predicted Manchester City. Manchester City did finish in third place. That is the prediction that I got right. Now, they have the chance of winning the treble. Pep Guardiola, again, producing wonders. Haaland, wasn't that 38 goals or something, 35 goals? More than a goal a game. He is a robot. Gundogan, obviously, I don't know why Man City aren't renewing his contract yet, but they have to. So, and then you've got De Bruyne. We know you've got Julian Alvarez on the bench. They've got so many really good players. Probably the worst player was Calvin Phillips. But a small fish in a big pond. Calvin Phillips this season. Last season it was Grealish. Grealish grew into that pond and played really well. Grealish deserves an honourable mention as well. And I am rooting for Manchester City to beat Inter Milan in the Champions League final. So yeah, I will speak to you in a bit. See you later.